To discuss the Eagles' return and performance moving forward, I'm now being joined on the News at 10 by sports analyst Mr. Fela Bank-Olemoh. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10.
Good to be here. Good day to be in Nigeria.
Yeah, it's a good day to be Stephen Keshi. I can tell you that,
yeah, you can say that again.
with all the receptions and etc. But let me start by asking, what does this victory mean for us around the world? We know what it means for us as Nigerians, but what does it say about us around the world?
I think I'm particularly happy for Nigerians in South Africa and Ghana. And those are two nations where we get a lot of stick. So I know Nigerians there, we're walking around feeling very confident. But beyond that, I've always felt strongly that sports is a very powerful tool to project a Nigerian image. And I dare say that the success of the Super Eagles at this tournament has probably done more for Nigeria's image than all our embassies have done in the past 1 year. Because all of a sudden, it's positive news about Nigeria. It's not about kidnapping, it's not about bomb blasts, it's not about corruption, but it's about the fact that Nigerians have won the Nations Cup and we're African champions. So it means a lot to Nigerian image. I feel we've suffered over the past 19 years because we've not done very well in sports.
Yeah,
the Olympics were not doing very well. So that has affected our image, but this is a good one for Nigeria as a country.
Well, it's been glorious so far with the receptions, and all of a sudden everybody thought they could do it. You know, when we see the Senate President talking about a handsome reward, what do you think? What do you recommend? I
mean, for me, I wouldn't go down that lane. I'm sure Mr. President will definitely reward them well, and I think they deserve it. They're professionals. It's what they do. Football players have a very short career. Yes, they make a lot of money, but don't forget that 35, 40, that's most of them don't have anything to do beyond football. So, and whatever money they give to them, I think is well deserved. For me, it's beyond the Super Eagles and the money the players are getting, but how do we ensure that we can continue replicating this kind of success?
Exactly, because I was also going to say that a lot of the time you see they take the money and they're off. Obviously, they've earned it. But then when they have tournaments, etc., and they need to train, they go out because the facilities to train are not here. So beyond giving them match bonuses and etc., what do you think should be done about preparing us as the people to train our own?
I think we're on the right path. I mean, there was a presidential retreat on sports earlier sometime last year, and one critical thing Mr. President said was taking sports back to the schools. And I think everybody has said so. We need to get sports back to the grassroots, and it means creating facilities in secondary schools and primary schools, putting those facilities that will allow everybody and anybody have access to sports. If we're able to do that, for a country of our size, by the law of averages, we'll outproduce any other nation in Africa and in the world in number of players. But what we need to do is to improve our coaching and get better facilities and make it accessible to other people.
So you can see from the visuals there, I mean, it's all smiles and everybody is happy and it's triumphant, but it was not such a happy road for Keshi himself. I'm seeing that one of his biggest issues was interference from the top. What do you think can be done about it? Because it was a very big issue for him, even on the field of play, even behind when it looked like all we had were the draws that, you know, on the matches. What can we do to draw a line to say so much but not much more?
I think it's a phenomenon that's not a Nigerian phenomenon. I mean, all around the world, you've seen coaches resign because they say that they're presidents to try to influence the game. So it boils down to the coach being strong and bold as Keshi has been. I mean, 17 players debutantes in the Nations Cup, 6 of them were home-based players. I dare say myself inclusive, I thought this is probably the poorest national team Nigeria's ever had. And as an irony, the poorest team we all felt we ever had has won the Nations Cup for the 3rd time for Nigeria. But I think it boils down to the individual, and I think Keshi has taken the right step. Right now he's untouchable. I mean, he's won the Nations Cup. So for the next 2 years, I mean, he has enough goodwill to do whatever he wants to do, but he has qualified Nigeria for the World Cup. And it would be nice to do very well in Confederations Cup coming up in June.
Well, you have to hand it to him because he did use that particular stage to make the case for local coaches, you know, as against their foreign counterparts, being given a level playing field. What is it about the African skin that scares us when we have to pick a particular coach? Because it was a big issue for him as well.
I mean, for Keshi, I mean, let's face the fact. Not all Nigerian coaches are good. We all know that. But Keshi probably, as a local coach, came very prepared for this job. We tend to forget that he was successful in Togo, was successful in Mali. So he came to Nigeria, you know, having been well proven. Beyond that, also for the Nations Cup, and before this Nations Cup, we had 14 home-based coaches win Nations Cup, 14 foreign-based coaches. So with Keshi's victory, is now tipped in the balance of the home-based coaches. But I think we need to try and create platforms to improve our coaches locally. The truth of the matter is that if you go to the grassroots level of football all around the country, we don't have the quality coaches to help us bring out the players. So we have a problem there. But what Keshi is saying, and I totally agree with Keshi, is this. If we're bringing foreign coaches to Nigeria or to Africa, let's bring the best. You know, let's bring the very best coaches that will improve our football. Let's not bring guys that don't get jobs in Europe and will come to Africa to learn. And that's what Keshi is saying, and I support
Looking forward now to the World Cup qualifiers, etc. Yeah. Which do you think is his priority, the Confederations Cup or the World Cup qualifier? Because I believe we do have to qualify at this point.
The World Cup by the mile. I mean, the World Cup is the Confederations Cup is good. It's good prestige. It's good for Nigeria, good for our image. But the World Cup, I mean, we need to qualify for the World Cup, and we have a good set of players, and I'm sure we'll be able to do that.
And I must ask, I hope the music doesn't change, because Nigeria, we do love our success.
I mean, we have a right to demand success, but I'm sure Keshi will do a good job.
All right, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your perspective with us on the News at 10.